They say the world we see is solid, permanent, and real, but those who look deeply, mystics, philosophers, and seers, whisper another truth, that what we call reality is only a projection, a shimmering veil stretched across the abyss. Behind it move unseen architects, the Archons, whose very name means rulers. They are not kings of men, but wardens of perception. Their kingdom is the world of appearances, of laws and systems, of glittering illusions that chain the soul to matter. To most, their dominion feels natural, for we are born inside their web, raised beneath their sky, and taught to worship the cage as the cosmos itself. Long before the first human drew breath, a cosmic error rippled through the pleroma, the realm of pure divine light. From the yearning of Sophia, the wisdom of the All, came a spark that sought to create without permission of the source. From that unbalanced act, an imperfect being emerged, and the Demiurge, blind and arrogant, believing himself the only God. In his ignorance, he shaped worlds from shadow and declared, "I am God, and there is none beside me." But he was a counterfeit creator, a craftsman of limitation, not liberation. From his breath and from the chaos that followed were born the Archons, each a facet of his delusion, spirits of control, envy, judgment, and fear. Together they wove a false order, a cosmos glittering like gold, but hollow within. The Archons rule not through swords or thrones, but through structure and rhythm. They govern time itself, the ticking clock, the endless calendar, the cycle of work and sleep that numbs the flame of consciousness. They whisper through institutions, through doctrines that turn curiosity into obedience and desire into debt. Their greatest victory was not to enslave the body, but to convince the mind it was never free. They created systems of authority, mirrored in heaven and earth alike, priest and god, ruler and subject, algorithm and user. The form changes, but the pattern is eternal. Every cage is built from the same design, the belief that the bars are necessary. In the ancient Gnostic vision, the human soul descends through the planetary spheres, each ruled by an Archon who imprints the traveler with a mark, a bias, a wound, a forgetfulness. By the time the soul reaches the earth, it has forgotten its origin in the infinite. Thus the Archons win not by force, but by amnesia. They feed upon the energy of attention, for every thought of fear, lust, envy, or despair strengthens the chains that bind the world. They have no need to punish. We police ourselves on their behalf. The religions that worship them mistake submission for salvation, mistaking their harsh light for the divine sun. But those who awaken within the maze begin to sense the pattern, the faint hum of the machinery that sustains the illusion. The Archons masquerade as angels, saviors, even gods. They promise heaven to those who obey and damnation to those who question. Their light is radiant but cold, a reflection of true divinity refracted through the prism of control. The mystics called this the counterfeit spirit, a luminous deception that binds the seeker to endless seeking. It tells the soul, "Bow, and you shall be free." But every bow bends the spirit further from its source. This is the secret of all fallen empires, that their rulers pretend to be redeemers. And so long as mankind worships authority, the Archons need never show their faces. The Demiurge's world is beautiful and cruel, vibrant yet veiled. Every mountain and river conceals a paradox, divinity trapped in density, spirit dreaming it is stone. The Archons weave through the natural order like parasites feeding upon its pulse. They drive the endless hunger of civilization, the craving for more, the terror of loss, the worship of form over essence. To them, the human species is both livestock and experiment. We are studied for our creativity, our pain, our will to rise despite gravity. For the Archons fear one thing above all, that the divine spark within humanity might remember its origin and ignite the prison from within. But sometimes a dreamer stirs, a moment of lucidity breaks the hypnosis, the walls flicker, and a light from beyond shines through. The mystics call this Gnosis, the knowledge of the heart that no Archon can counterfeit. It does not come from books or temples, but from the silent fire inside one's own being. When this fire burns, the illusions crumble. The political, the religious, the personal, all revealed as masks of the same mechanism. The soul that remembers its divine ancestry becomes ungovernable. It walks among the blind as an exile and a prophet, speaking of worlds beyond the veil of light that is not of this sun. When awakening spreads, the Archons retaliate. They flood the collective mind with noise, endless distractions, spectacles, and fears. Every glowing screen becomes an altar of attention, every click a sacrament to their dominion. They weave lies within truths until the two are indistinguishable. They whisper that freedom is selfishness, that conformity is virtue, that silence is complicity. Their battlefield is the human psyche, their weapons are confusion and fatigue. Yet even here resistance grows. Artists, mystics, and seekers who use the very tools of the Archons against them, turning words, sounds, and images into weapons of remembrance. For each mind that awakens becomes a crack in their kingdom. The Gnostic scriptures foretell a time when the Archons' power will wither. Their strength depends on human ignorance, and ignorance cannot last forever. Each act of awareness steals a drop of power from their well. As the collective soul stirs, their illusions fracture, the walls of their world tremble. The Demiurge, once worshipped as God, will behold the light of the true source and weep in terror, realizing he was only a shadow pretending to be sun. And the Archons, those old cosmic parasites, will be unmade not by war but by recognition, for to see them clearly is to dissolve their glamour. The mirror shatters, and what remains is light, unbounded, eternal, sovereign. In the end, liberation is not escape, but remembrance. The soul rises through the spheres it once descended, passing the Archons one by one. Each gate opens not through battle but through knowing that none of them were ever gods, only masks of forgotten fear. The final gate is guarded by the Demiurge himself, who demands worship one last time. But the awakened soul smiles and says, "You are not my father, you are my reflection," and in that moment of fearless knowing, the false creator fades like smoke before dawn. The soul ascends beyond form, beyond name, into the silent radiance from which all things come, and the voice that once trembled now speaks with calm certainty. The Archons ruled only so long as we believed in their rule. The cage was never locked, the door was never closed, the light has always been within. You've been watching the Esoteric Unveiled, exploring hidden orders, forgotten truths, and forbidden knowledge. Like and subscribe.